What I'd like to do here at the beginning is start with a video that's going to introduce a little bit of what we're going to be talking about, a little bit about our company and our values, the things we care about, where we're going, how we're going to get there. So let's start with that video, and then I'll introduce up here my CTO, Brayden.
We stand at the dawn of a new era, on the precipice of profound change. At Project Babbage, we're reimagining the future of identity, data, and privacy. A future not controlled by centralized systems prone to failure, but by you, the individual. We're pioneering a new online world where your identity and your data are yours and yours alone. Built upon the original Bitcoin protocol, we're creating a scalable, distributed platform for the next generation of apps and services. Our micropayment model is controlled back into your hands, enabling a more efficient and privacy-respecting internet. Our team, a tapestry of passionate professionals, is consistently pushing the boundaries of what's possible. I'm Everett, the founding president of Project Babbage, and we're excited to lead the charge in the distributed identity revolution. Project Babbage, empowering individuals, protecting privacy, building the future.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brayden. It's great to be here. Ty, do you want to start?
Sure. What we're going to be doing today is showing some of the outcomes of some of the research we've been doing over the past 3 years in Bitcoin app development, scalable architectures for the future, putting users at the center, protecting their data, giving them privacy, enabling micropayments. What I want you to do is take out your laptops, and I'd like you to visit a website. I think we can all manage to visit botcrafter.io. So botcrafter.io is a website. If you get out your computers, you can pull it up. And it's like any other website on the internet. At least that's how it might seem at the beginning. We're going to be showing what I think the future is going to look like. And then we're going to be showing you kind of how you can take the first step on your journey building with this next generation of technology. So let's take a step back, I suppose, at the beginning here and talk about how we got to this point, right? Why are we looking at this screen on this website? The MetaNet, right? This app, you're trying to use it. It looks like just like this prompt to go download something and put something on your computer. But what are you putting into your computer? Why would you need to do this, right? You're trying to access something. Maybe your friend sent this to you. Maybe it's some app that you've heard about somewhere. It's about taking back control. You needed to install Google Chrome on that computer at one point. I mean, I do like Internet Explorer. I think it's the best web browser out there for installing Google Chrome. The idea is that when we want to change something, we need to sometimes add a new program to our computers, get something set up. And when we want to put control back into our own hands for our identities and the experiences we have, the ability to pay for things directly, the ability to not have 10 different passwords and 10 different accounts on all these websites, we need to install the MetaNet client. So that's what I'm asking you to do. The MetaNet client is a piece of software that sits on your computer, and it provides an interface defined using open protocols, and you can learn more about open protocols on openstandards.cash, but don't go there right now, stay on botcrafter.io. But download the MetaNet client. actually set it up, you're going to go through the process, and Brayden's going to go through that as well. So, Brayden, why don't you go ahead and open up the Metadata client, and then we'll jump into a little preview. So we're going to do a review of botcrafter.io, which is the end product we're going to be building here, and
Great.
yeah. So go ahead and take it away, Brayden.
So yeah, as Ty mentioned, the Metadata client is a piece of software that runs locally on your computer and manages your private keys and is used to facilitate micropayments. So you want to click on the download button, which is on the top right-hand corner, and install the Metadata client and set up your account. I already have it installed, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it. So open the Metadata client. And I have already created an account, and so it should just automatically log me in. And what you'll see is the website automatically detects that I have the Metadata client running locally on my computer, and it authenticates me, just like that. It recognizes, salutations Brayden, that I'm signed in.
All right, so what's happening here is this Metadata app is connecting with the Metadata client using standard protocols. And these protocols could be incorporated, we don't want to be the only Metadata client. We want other applications to emerge for Metadata clients that provide access to user-held keys, put users in control of their data, et cetera. So when you launch the Metadata client, you're going to set up an account on there, and you'll be able to look at this page. And once you see that bot crafter page, you'll know you've successfully gotten set up. So what's happening is you're getting an account set up, and it's in the background sending a request out and kind of probing to see if the Metadata client is installed. And once it is able to link up with the identity that you've set up, this app, BotCrafter, as well as any other app that you install pretty much ever, or that you want to use, it'll sort of already be there. So you do this once, and then you have one identity, and all your apps can plug into that identity. That's kind of what I think the future is going to be like. Users shouldn't need to log into apps. I think I got that from somewhere. Apps should need to log into users. So
I can just give a high-level overview of this app. So this is just an example app of something that you can create using the BSV blockchain and the technologies that we've created. And this is an app that Ty created in under 10 hours. So it's something that some of us would be able to create. And so I'll just go and show you the UI. So you got the My Bots page, which you can click and see all the different AI chatbots you've created.
So essentially, BotCrafter is a marketplace for AI chatbots like ChatGPT. They have custom personalities, and you can trade them as NFTs on the BSV blockchain. You can buy and sell them, give them custom personalities, and list them on a marketplace. So when people use the bots that you have on the marketplace, when they try them, you make some money. And so you can express your creativity, right? You can build some cool things. And this is just one of many apps through the ecosystem. But we'll give a brief demo here. So you should be able to pull this up on your end. And meanwhile, I'll mention that I do have a couple of other team members in the audience. So Michael and Tone are probably handing out some flyers to you guys for the code along portion, which we're going to get to. And you can let them know if you need any help getting the Metadata client set up or with any portion of the code along. So let's just continue with the overview of BotCrafter here, and feel free to flag down Mike or Tone from the audience with any questions.
So here you can see on my screen the marketplace. There's some very creative bots that different people have created. And so you can go there, and once you sign up and or create your Metadata account and log in, you can create whatever bots you want on there. So I'm going to go back now, and that's just an overview of BotCrafter, and then we're going to get started diving into the code. So you want to go ahead?
Yeah, if you're a developer and you have like a code editor, Node.js on your laptop ready to go, this is where you want to kind of follow along. You're going to turn your attention to that little pamphlet. Hopefully you have one, and you can follow along with the code along. If you aren't so into coding, you can just stay on botcrafter.io. You might experiment with figuring out how to get your own bot set up yourself, list it on the marketplace, try out other people's bots, but feel free to participate as a Metanet user as well. So now let's jump into the code along portion of this for us developers.
So you want to go to github.com/bsv-demo/London. This is a code repo that we created specifically for this demo. It's just the front end with a few changes that we need to make. So you want to clone this either by just using the drop-down menu to download the zip and extract it that way, or you can clone it directly from your code editor.
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you have a code editor and you know how to do this, like we're gonna use whatever code editor or way you know how to clone a repo, get it set up, right? We're gonna npmi, we're gonna do all the basics. That's on the little pamphlet. But what Brayden is gonna do here is just open VS Code, and we'll go ahead and get started with cloning this repository and essentially getting it set up. So
I'm just gonna enter in the GitHub URL for that repo and select where I want to save it.
And once again, that URL is https://github.com/bsv-demo/London. And so hopefully pretty simple. And that's on the pamphlet as well.
So I've got that clone now, and on the left you can see there's the files there, and the core of this application is going to be under the src folder.
And so go ahead and let's get the terminal open. And we'll start by running npmi. So this is just going to install the dependencies for this project, and then we'll give a little bit more insight into the code and what we're going to be changing here to actually enable these features that we were able to demonstrate.
Exactly. So this is just a full-fledged standard React app. You can see there's components and pages as you'd expect. And now we've installed the required node dependencies. And so the main folder that you're going to want it to be working in is utils, which is under src.
Well, let's go ahead and just check in with everybody here. Does it look like everybody's kind of
It looks like there's a few of you following along.
Okay. Everybody good? I mean, I think we should be on the right track, just kind of making sure we're following here. You want to get your dependencies installed, so npmi. And then after that's done, it might take a little bit if you haven't installed them already on your machine for the first time, right? First time set up for node dependencies. But once the npmi has run, then you'll be able to proceed to actually start up the local development environment for this application.
Yeah, so now that we've installed all the dependencies, we're going to run the following commands. You want to type npm run start. And this is just going to start the React app in the local browser.
All right, so if we've done everything properly here, you should see a local host open up in your web browser of choice. So we have different web browsers. Some of us are using Firefox, some of us are using Chrome. And I think the Metanet client is eventually going to be like that too. So just some context here, but I'd say, you should be looking at this, and you've already got the Metanet client set up from before, and so it kind of already knows who you are, just like it did when you pulled it up on botcrafter.io. So you just have it running locally on your machine.
Exactly. So you can see I have the Metanet client installed, and I'm logged in, but there's an error that's thrown. So it says this route is protected by Authorite. So Authorite is a system that we developed for mutual authentication. And so the back end of the server has some API routes, and they're using the Authorite middleware, which is protecting those routes and requiring that I use the corresponding client Authorite software to make those requests so that I can authenticate with my Metanet identity.
Right, so the repo that you pulled down just now is a simple Web 2 version, right? So we're not going to be doing the ChatGPT stuff, like the AI-related stuff. We coded up like the styling already. We did like the AI part of this. We want to focus on the actual micropayments and blockchain stuff and show how easy it is to integrate with the stack. So we have all of the blockchain stuff kind of stripped out of this front end here. And what we're going to be doing is just taking this from a Web 2 app and adding in the authentication through the Metanet without the need for multiple accounts and different passwords and everything. And then we're also going to be adding micropayments to facilitate the actual transacting with these within this marketplace. So,
so to authenticate with my Metanet identity, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the code, and then you want to pull up the request.js file.
So what's happening here is the backend, right? We have a backend server, right? And our backend server is using Authorite to actually check, and that's why the backend is throwing that error, because the front end needs to use Authorite to communicate. And the installation of Authorite into a backend server is actually extremely simple. It's just a piece of middleware, and you configure a server private key, and then the middleware is set up so you can pass in your private key using an env variable or a configuration parameter in the express middleware. But that's set up. We already did the backend stuff, so we're just going to go through client-side code here, and you can learn more about the backend and things like that. We can answer questions afterwards. But yeah, so let's go ahead and proceed with the front-end changes here and show just how easy it is to enable authentication inside of this little application here.
Exactly. So the change that you want to make, as it says in the code and in your pamphlet, is to change window.fetch, which is the standard fetch interface for making AP or HTTP requests.
I mean, I guess show of hands. How many of you know what window.fetch is in a web browser? Do people know that? A couple of them?
A couple.
Okay. So window.fetch is very standard. It's like just HTTP. It's like curl or something like that if you use command line. It's a way to just send HTTP requests. So we're just replacing that. It's a drop-in replacement for any HTTP request you're making anywhere, and just adding all of this additional functionality, right? So by making this simple change, replacing window.fetch with client.request, which in this case we're importing the authRight client at the top, and then we're instantiating it. We're saying client.request. It's a drop-in replacement for window.fetch, and it enables authentication. So it actually communicates with the Metanet client in the background and obtains a digital signature, which links to your Metanet identity, and then allows the server, with your permission, so you'll see a permissions pop up, to ask if this is okay with you as the user, to know who you are. And all that needs to change inside of front-end applications is just dropping in this new code and enabling authentication. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You don't need to have user account management anymore. We can rely on digital signatures and client-side keys to solve this problem so much easier, and we can do it in a standard way so that everybody in the world doesn't need to have all of this nonsense we've had to deal with for the past 25 years of the web, with different usernames and passwords and security questions and TOTP and hardware tokens and all of this stuff. Like, it really is a straightforward solution.
Well said.
And I think it's going to be what happens in the future. So we can make the change here, and we can see how everybody's kind of following.
Yeah, so we're going to go and swap out window.fetch for client.request, which again, like Ty said, is the client that was instantiated the new authRight client. So I'll just do file save, and that should automatically update the browser with the new code changes. And as soon as that loads, you'll see that I'm authenticated, just like that.
Now it knows who Brayden is.
All right, so the next step we want to do is we added authentication. Now we want to add support for micropayments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go...
hang on. Let's, we want to... Yep. So let's go back to here, and now that we're authenticated, we're able to go to the next step, right, which is we want to view the list of bots that we have. So when you go to the My Bots page, right, after you've gotten authRight enabled, we can see here that Brayden already has some bots. So the backend already knows who Brayden is, and for you, you may not have one yet. But yeah, you can go ahead, and once you've got authRight enabled, that's the first change. We can...
Yeah, exactly. So I'll try to make a bot. So the default bot is Socrates. So I'll just leave the training data there by default and just click create a bot.
Right.
So what you're going to see is that an error is going to be thrown. So it says a BSV payment is required to complete this request.
Right. So what happened here is authRight was enabled. So the backend knows who we are now, right?
Exactly.
And so for some requests, right, we have two, you may have seen in the utils folder when you made that first change, there's request.js and there's paid request.js. So request.js was used by the front end to create the, to create requests for just, general purpose, like, hey, who am I, what is my name, what are the bots that I have in my list, like we saw here. But paid request is used when something costs money. So don't actually fill in training data here yet because it won't work, right? We tried it and it threw this error. We're trying to create this initial bot as a little a placeholder that we can later replace, right? And we can actually update it later. So why don't we enable packet pay now? Because we try to create this and it's saying we can't due to the payment required error.
So packet pay is a system we created similar to authRight. So it's a drop-in replacement for authRight, just like authRight was a drop-in replacement for window.fetch. and this allows you to wrap any server API endpoint with a required payment. So I'll just go to the code again and go to pay.request, which again is under the utils folder. And then we're going to replace client.request with packet pay.
Yeah, and you're going to want capital P for packet and capital P for pay. And you'll be able to replace what was, we had authwrite already enabled in paid request. Now we're dropping in the packet pay as a replacement for authwrite. And it's just another layer of technology, right? So all of these are basically winner.fetch. But in addition to doing authentication on the front end, packet pay utilizes HTTP error code 402. So for those who know what 402 is, it was a thing that I guess never got finished, unfortunately, when people
It was
started.
initially defined, but it hasn't been fulfilled
they had an
up until
idea.
now.
It was a good idea, but the internet hasn't been finished until now, right? We need to be able to pay for things. There needs to be a capacity for micropayments on the internet. And so by dropping in this simple extension, we can enable that.
Exactly.
So
I'll save that change and go back to the browser and click train a bot. And then I'm going to click create a bot with the default Socrates and just see if it works. So what you'll see is it automatically opened my MetaNet client, and it's asking for me to allow the spending authorization request. So there's an amount there that it's charging me, and then I'll just click allow to allow that to payment.
yeah, so this is communicating in the background, as you can see. So what happens is it first sends out a request to the backend. The backend responds and says, nope, not going to do it because I need this many Satoshis. That's a 402. Then Packet Pay goes and communicates with the MetaNet client to actually create the correct Bitcoin transaction to pay the backend server directly in a peer-to-peer manner with full SPV validation on all of the transactions in compliance with the open standards that we've defined to actually facilitate this request. And once you pay, the backend receives the payment and mints your new chatbot. So that's how you can enable micropayments as well as authentication inside of a Bitcoin-powered application on the MetaNet.
Precisely. Okay, so now that we have Socrates created, let's start.
Let's go ahead and
actually let's retrain first.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're running through this and trying to enable things, if you see other permissions pop-ups in the MetaNet client for like identity key, payment protocols, things like that, just allow them. This is something that is still a work in progress, and we want to make the user experience around what you're actually allowing a little bit better, and that's going to happen over time. It's just going to keep getting better, but this is essentially the application asking for permission to pay for things using a payment protocol or to authenticate you with authwrite, whatever it is. And also, if the MetaNet client isn't popping up for you and you're just seeing like an infinite loading or anything like that, you can just open it up. It might be in the background or on your system tray or something, and you might see it pop up because due to a known bug, it doesn't necessarily always pop up right now when it should, but we have a fix in the works for that as well. So there's just a couple little things. This is very early stage technology, but I think it's going to be around for at least, as long as the internet is. So it's the beginning, right? And we're learning how to use this stuff to make things really, really easy for developers. But so approve those permissions, and we can then successfully be able to create a chatbot, hopefully.
Yeah, so we'll move on to retraining this AI chatbot. So I'll click retrain. And so I'm going to go to my notes, and I have just some preset training data for a tour guide. So for those of you that are from out of town like myself, it'd be cool to have your own personal AI chatbot that could show you all the cool places in London. So I'm going to put in the training data here. Okay, so we have the system message.
Yeah, so essentially, you can rename your chatbot to whatever you want. You can change its motto once you've got the template created that you can use. Now that you've, because we were kind of messing around with the default just to get Packet Pay working and make sure you've got the code changes. And once you get that working, you can create a bot of your choosing. So this is where you get to kind of split off and use your creativity a little bit. Create something you might want to actually interact with. So, there's different bots that you might want to consider creating. Essentially the system message, that's the context. The user messages are kind of giving the bot some instructions or some some example user queries, and then the bot messages are those that respond. So you can use a little question mark thing on the right there to actually learn more about that process if you'd want, but this is really focusing on the micropayment and BSV aspects of this, as well as authentication, not so much the AI stuff. So we've got some example training data here, and we'll go ahead and get the bot created. So there's that little pop-up.
Exactly, so I'll click retrain.
Yep, go ahead and retrain.
And we'll see another spending authorization request. And so you see there's this button in the middle that says always. So one cool thing that you can do is if you click that, you can set an authorization amount and a duration when this authorization grant will expire. And so then you won't be able to see, or you won't see any other authorization requests pop up. It will just automatically complete those payment requests in the background, which is pretty cool. Creates a more seamless user experience. But I'll just click allow for now. Okay, so now Tom the tour guide is trained, and let's start a new conversation.
So you're able to retrain your bot into whatever you want, and once it's there, you can list it, right? So one thing I'll mention is you can put bots on the marketplace, list them for sale, and you can also, in the audience there, if you're just on botcrafter.io even, you can try the different bots that everybody's going to be creating here as part of this demo, and actually pay them a little bit for trying out their bot, or you can buy it outright if you want to exclusively be able to talk to it, and when you buy a bot and when it's your own, you can talk to it for free. So that's how the platform works, essentially, as a little demo of this technology, right? Like, you can do a lot with micropayments and authentication without the need for all these other things. And
Exactly.
So
I'll just show a quick, so on my MedNet client, you can see all the actions that I've created and the amounts as well, which is pretty cool.
yeah, so you can see we've got actually that client integrating, right, with this app and showing, like, across all your different apps, here's the things that went on, right? Here's what you did. Here's your, you got a little balance. If you ever run out of Satoshis, it'll manage that for you. It'll let you, top up your balance. It'll let you do the things that you need to do. We handle that because application developers should not need to deal with all of these things when you're building on Bitcoin. You should focus on what makes your application great.
Yeah.
Like, if I could spend more than 10 hours on this, and gosh, I wish I had the time, I have to focus on the infrastructure because that's kind of what I do. But for you guys out there, it's like, this is why we're building this stuff, is because it makes it so much easier.
Exactly. Let's just do a simple example conversation. So Ty, what should I ask Tom the tour guide?
Oh gosh, let's think. What about, I don't know, what are some of the best places to go for fish and chips in London?
Okay.
I mean, there's, I've been to a couple places already, so we'll see what some of the recommendations are here, but...
Right, this is a little bit dynamic, so we'll see what he says.
Yeah, this AI, you never know what's going to come out of ChatGPT when you ask it some things. But this is just using OpenAI's API for context. You're just we're adding some functionality on top of it and integrating the BSV components to make it a little bit more valuable. By the way, when you train a chatbot and list it, nobody else is going to see how you trained it. So it's like a secret formula type thing. So it's you can sell the bot back to its creator and the creator can retrain it, but only the creator can ever see the training data for a particular bot. So it's kind of cool, but I don't know. It's just one little thing I thought. I was like, okay, well, ChatGPT is big right now. I guess I could build something, but
yeah. So it looks like Tom says the best place is the Golden Hind in Marylebone. So maybe we'll have to check that out.
All right.
So let's move on and list this bot to the marketplace. So I'll wait till this loads and then click the 3 dots and click list or sell bot. Mm-hmm. So here you can just select an amount that you want to charge. I'll just set, let's do 50,000 Satoshis. Okay, now Tom has been listed to the marketplace. And now if I navigate to the marketplace, we should be able to see Tom the tour guide listed on the marketplace.
Right.
So let's wait till this loads and then we can scroll down. Might take a minute. There's getting to be more and more bots on there. All right, so it looks like we have Tom the tour guide listed. And you guys can try him out or purchase it for 50,000. So if one of you in the audience wants to try him out or purchase it, then I'll be able to see those royalties that I get because I'm the creator that came up with the clever training data to train this.
Right, so anybody following along, even if you're in the local development environment here, because we're running a shared backend, everybody can sort of interact on the platform. And so if you try bots that your friends create, or if you create bots, you can see a couple of cool examples, I'm sure, as we were scrolling through the marketplace there, or you can check it out yourself. But yeah, someone from the audience can try out the bot that we've just created, and we can see about getting some royalties for our hard work.
We're getting to the end of the time. Do you want to finish up just giving a quick overview of some of the efforts on some of the efforts we're doing towards technical standardization?
Sure, yeah, so just want to emphasize, BotCrafter is one of many applications that can be built on top of BSV, and there's a lot that that we can create. So I would recommend, if you're a developer, if you want to build a wallet, I would go to openstandards.cash. And also, if you're an enterprise and you're looking for an application to be created for this ecosystem, where users are put at the center and they're able to be more in control of their data and their micropayments, to pay for things directly, I think that there's some definite utility there. So you should reach out to us, because we specialize in building out these use cases for people and helping people really connect their use cases with what with sort of the new technology that's starting to emerge in this area. And I think it is going to be a bright future, and this is just the very beginning. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you.